Well, Matter Social Club, we're going to be talking about the future of the Champions League right now. Apparently, the Chinese are looking to set up a rival for the Champions League. It's going to see the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, top teams in Italy gearing towards this and moving away from the Champions League for greater riches, playing teams from across the world instead of just within Europe. Just a few bits and pieces on it. It's going to be called the World Super League. Bayern, Juventus, Real Madrid are understood to be the driving force. They're looking to involve clubs from China, the United States, Brazil, Australia and South Africa. The president of La Liga has backed the plans. Apparently, Javier Tebas claims there'll be an opportunity for greater revenue for clubs under the plans of a breakaway competition. Proposal has been mooted by the Dalian Wanda Group, who are owned by China's richest man. Wow. I mean, we've been talking for years about the potential of a European Super League or whatever. We've seen what's happened in China in terms of their league and whatever, because the amount of money that's been thrown around. This would have been just sounded ludicrous 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now you're thinking, wow, with the money that's going to get thrown around, it's a very real possibility that within 5 years there could actually be you'd have a choice. You'd either go and join with them, or you stick with the European UEFA.
Yeah, I think it's a very real possibility from the fella and what he wants to do with it. Whether it'll actually happen or not, or whether the big clubs in Europe are using it to then go back to the Champions League and go, you need to sort our deal out, lads, because we need to get more money here, because the English clubs are getting more money from the Premier League than everybody else.
We need more money.
No, it's mad,
but that's
it?
That's what I think. What it'll ultimately turn into. There is a very real possibility this will happen. Logistically, it's an absolute nightmare to run something like that, I'd imagine. I genuinely don't believe that if you start playing games in China in mid-season, we can have a 38-game season anymore in the Premier League if we were to be involved in it as well.
It makes you wonder. I mean, again, things are in motion, apparently, aren't they, for a winter break, and whether that would be a contributing factor in England, because you can't imagine a world where, we already see how hard it is on South American internationals, travelling thousands of miles for international games during the season. Imagine doing that instead of it's hard enough going to Russia on a Wednesday or a Thursday night, let alone going to South America and back, because you need a few extra million quid.
Yeah, I mean, this might sound stupid, but maybe in about 5 years, once the technology's caught up of the next aviation, maybe
virtual reality games.
Maybe virtual reality games, don't even leave the house. No, but in 10 years' time, maybe this might be something that mightn't be as much of a problem. But forget all that. I mean, just from the basis of football, it's bollocks, isn't it? Because it's the 1%. It's the top. It's all the top teams. It's your fault.
It is Man City. It's all Man City.
No, but it's actually more like teams like Paris Saint-Germain's fault, really. Teams who have actually got no competition in their own leagues, who can't sort of break that wall in the Champions League. They're looking for something else now. And it's sad that there are teams like Bournemouth that can outspend Champions League teams, and that's a bit of a sick,
this is where a lot of the issues come, isn't it, Josh? Is that although the idea of Barcelona and Real Madrid crying about money when they absolutely and utterly monopolise the money in that country, particularly domestically, but their complaint comes from the fact that, I think, we was it in that article, something like
the 11th place team in the Premier League
the 11th,
more money.
Yeah, the 11th place team in the Premier League gets more money than the team that wins the Champions League. They're complaining that they're going to be they can't compete financially with the Premier League, with the Premier League's money. What's your take on it, mate? Because ultimately there will be something. It will come to a head. Could you envisage the Champions League without Barcelona and Real Madrid?
It's a real possibility with the way things are going at the moment. But I think they should save stuff like that. I mean, you have these big pre-season tournaments, similar sort of setup where they say Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. They play each other in China, or I think there was one in Melbourne, and I think there might have been one. Was it?
It was in America.
A couple of games over here,
all over the world as well. Yeah.
So they're doing stuff like that, but I think making it a proper sort of Super League, it's not the way to go, really, is it? It's going to ruin football. We've already seen it with the B team stuff this season, where you say Everton under 23s are playing Rochdale or someone, and obviously there's been a lot of uproar about that. This will probably be this, but on a higher level. I don't think it's good for football in the end.
The question I'd ask is the Champions League better than the Premier League? Like, watching it wise, you know what I mean? I mean that's the argument, isn't it? Because I don't think the Champions League is better than. I mean, when I very rarely in the group stages will sit down and watch one game. I love that BT thing where you can watch, like, It's like soccer
Like Back to
Saturday,
the Future
but
2.
you see the goals. I love watching that, where you just get a glimpse, because there's almost too much going on at the same time, and it's, you know, and with the group stage and then going into the quali. I think there needs to be a slight change in the setup of the Champions League or how it's played. I'm not necessarily behind this. All 4 teams go through to the group stage or that kind of thing. I mean, you should have to qualify if you're in a certain position. But again, the idea of a closed off world league or European Super League, that to me is just a joke, because
Well, it would be.
that will just destroy football in this country. It'll destroy football in the lower leagues of France. It'll destroy football it'll destroy football in any lower leagues. And if you look at how many players are coming through the lower league, that's where
How does it destroy lower teams in the lower leagues?
because all the money will just go to this. All the big sponsors and all the big TV deals will just go to that, and everything else will be eradicated.
But saying that this is just effectively a replacement for the Champions League.
But it won't be though, will it? Because at the moment, this will be a closed shop. It doesn't matter, it will be a closed shop. It will only be Man United, it will only be Manchester City, it will only be Bayern Munich, it will only be Paris Saint-Germain. It'll always be, and all the money will gravitate to that. Yeah. And the Sky contract will just be destroyed. And then the Championship and lower league contracts will just be destroyed. And all the money will just be drained out of football. And it'll all go to the top 1%, as always, because that's all we'll be watching.
But as a fan, I'm sure, of V for Vendetta, surely you'd love to see the Houses of Parliament burn, like you're in that regard. Let it all go up in flames, and Everton will still be there standing at the end.
The 1% is the Houses of Parliament. That's what you want to see burned. What we've got at the moment actually works.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, we can all have a moan and say, well, you know, it seems to be the same teams, but Leicester in it this year, Spurs in it this year, you know, they are different teams. We all are fighting for it. The Premier League is giving us a chance to get into the Champions League. You know, if this happens, it'll be a closed shop, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
And
it looks to me like, again, particularly when you come to the league, it's those elite clubs ones have the cake and eat it, which is fair play, because why would you? What's the point in having cake? But it's because of the state of their domestic leagues. The Premier League, it's a double-edged sword. Look, there's more money than's ever been available to Premier League football clubs. But when we've had this conversation, the fact of the matter is, there's now 6 clubs that can win the league in the Premier League at any given season. You'd only get 1 or 2 in the other European league. So yeah, they get the absolute monopoly. Yeah, there's more money in that, but you know, they then wouldn't have. Those clubs wouldn't never want to be in the Premier League, and so ultimately they're just looking at ways to think, well, we've bled this dry. Where's more money for us coming from?
Barcelona and Real Madrid make more money than all the English clubs, regardless of Champions League money, new BT deals and anything. What they've done is they've killed their league off by getting that TV revenue split the way that it is in Spain. Mm-hmm. And now they're looking at it going, oh, hang on, over there they've got a league where anybody can win it, and now they're getting loads of money. Why do they want loads of money? Because we haven't monopolised our TV deal for Manchester United and Arsenal in the early 2000s and stuff. And what they're looking at and going, in 10 years' time, when they've outspent us for the next 10 years, we could be actually in trouble for winning Champions Leagues and stuff. That's what they might be thinking. Yeah. Let's make a break. We need to get more money in so we can compete with the English clubs.
The irony is, this is actually down to Sky and BT fighting over the Premier League. So Sky have lost European football, haven't they? Sure. So they've just gone, well, we need to make the Premier League better than the Champions League. Let's throw everything at it. So that Champions League set. I mean, the ratings for the Champions League football on BT is like minuscule. Yeah. Absolutely minuscule. It's supposed to be the best tournament. It's Premier League. What the Premier League is saying is, don't worry about the Champions League. You're going to get enough money here. Yeah. And it's the flip side of, as you just said there, Spain, where those 2 clubs are so greedy that they've ruined it for themselves. Whereas if they allowed, like our system, they'd have that competitiveness, make their leagues better, and then maybe we'd pay through the nose to watch their league, but we're not arsed. So they've done it to themselves.
You're left in a situation in the Premier League, aren't you, where, and we see it, look at Arsenal being the perfect example of it, you're more arsed about just maintaining your top 4 position and just getting into the Champions League. But then, because it's a constant balance of making sure that you stay in that top 4, that's where how your season becomes balanced. You're not arsed about the glory of it all. You're just arsed about having a consistent performance within your domestic league.
Something needs to be done with the Champions League. I don't like the format of the Champions League now. I think
It is better than what it was in 2001
when
with
the two
two
group
mad
stages.
group stages. Like,
It is better than that, but it's not better than the European Cup. And, you know, a knockout competition, that's exciting. That's when every game matters.
Yeah.
That's when fans tune in early on in competitions.
Do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see I'm sure, I know this already is sort of way with the qualifier, but a knockout round before the group stages, if that makes sense, where there's like no seeding.
Yeah.
And so there is.
As if.
I know, that'll
Imagine
never
Real
happen.
Madrid getting
That'll
knocked out
never
by
ever happen.
fucking-
But
by insert
that
random
danger
team
though,
name,
that
yeah.
danger of we could go out here
Yeah.
like really early on.
These would be fucked.
But that's the thing is, that's why you tune in for
Beersheba or
third round
someone
FA
goes
Cups
in.
when
Yeah.
United plays someone lower down the league. That's why you tune in.
Yeah.
That's the third round the FA Cup, and
Well,
everyone
that's-
goes, I want to see that.
I mean, Joshua can say more on this than I can, but Man City get criticised every year, and it annoys me about when they say, oh, they didn't sell out the Champions League and all this, but, you know, there's so many games early on, and those group stages are just shit. They are just crap. I mean, you know, I can understand why they don't fill out every game, because it's a lot of money as well, because they put that Champions League thing over it, and it's supposed to, you know, we'll put the prices up by however much, because it's the Champions League, and normally the games are shite, and as I was saying, I can't really watch one game. I put that multi thing on, so you get that sense of, you know, it makes it a little bit more exciting, that red zone kind of thing, so I think they need to do something, and they are looking to do something, aren't they, with the Champions League. They need to head off whatever's coming next.
I agree with Chris on that. You take it back to a straight knockout, because I mean, look, it's geared. The reason it is why it is, it's to give the big teams as much chance as possible of getting through, because it's all about a good Real Madrid moaning, but you know there's a reason for them being where they are, is because of the seedings and what have you. I can't see them pushing to change it back to, say, 32 teams, pure knockout competition.
Yeah, the format definitely is tweaking, but this crazy plan for a Super League isn't the change that we need. They just need to go for like it was back in the European Cup days.
The whole idea behind this is no fundamental. It's the only change really is just in terms of the miles that the players are going to cover, because for Real Madrid and Barcelona, it's going to end up being the same format as the Champions League, probably, except as I say, instead of travelling to Russia
But
on
for
a Wednesday,
them,
you're travelling to whatever.
But
Buenos Aires.
it's fine for Barcelona, I would say, because they can just put the second team out
Yeah.
and still win all of their games, apart from when they play Atletico or something. Do you know what I mean? And Barca and that. So it's English clubs who would struggle even more, because our league is so competitive.
I suppose the real debate, and maybe for this time, is though, if this does happen, do those teams come out of the league and this become their sole focus?
Well, what you'd end up seeing. I get it. Depends whether they shift it to a winter break and what happens around the Qatar World Cup and stuff coming, I guess. But think about when Man United won the World Club Cup and they had to miss the FA Cup as a result.
Yeah.
You know, the uproar that goes around that. It's what happens when that comes into proper conflict with what
Well, this
happens in the
is.
Premier League.
I mean, don't want to go on too long, but this actually sounds a bit like the. You're too young for this, and so are the audience. When Kerry Packer in the 70s, he's haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. Basically, what he. I know it's before me, but I know about it. Basically, what he did is he just looked at cricket and went, "This is crap." So he bought all the players and went, "We're setting up our own league," and he took them out their international teams and just went, "That's finished. We're starting up like a new Super League." He was like the first person to do it, and it meant all the top players were playing in Australia and were playing cricket, and that's what this sounds like. Because if this happens, this could finish everything. This could finish international football. Because if these say you're coming out your competition, you come out your own competitions, then the FAs could turn around and say, "Well, you're not playing for the national team," and this could desettle all of football. So that's an even bigger factor of it.
Yeah, well, there you go. But Liz, any thoughts on that?
Google Kerry Packer.
Google Kerry Packer in a separate tab. Yeah, loads more to come on Social Club this week. And also later on the Boss YouTube channel this week, Lawrence McKenna is going to be alongside James for You Decide. They're doing their Champions League picks, so stay tuned for that. That'll be out later this week. Still to come, we're going to be talking Man City, Bravo, Joe Hart, etc. We're going to be talking Liverpool, and we might do a little bit on Chelsea as well, because, you know, it's always good fun. Always. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, click subscribe and make sure you get all of the Bullshit YouTube channel videos first.